if I was getting interviewed, my tape already did enough of the talking. The other interviews should be about all the other duties that are in the job description other than play-by-play broadcaster. So I remember talking to Randy Wayhofer, and our first interview was an hour and a half, and nothing had to do with broadcasting. Because I knew that, okay, like my tape got me in here. It is my understanding of the organization's needs, my understanding of the job titles that will separate me.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome into episode 9 of STAA's Next Level Sportscasting. I'm your host, Michael Watring. Today, our guest is the Chicago Cubs TV play-by-play announcer. He does a bunch of other things in his free time as well. It's Alex Cohen. Alex, thanks so much for the time. I do want to start with this. I was looking at your resume. You minored in kinesiology. Why?
Because you can get like sports and society classes there at IU. So, one of the professors, Doc Sales, IU, the only way that I could take his class at that time is if I was part of the sports and sciences school in some capacity. So, it was like a little bit of a loophole.
Yeah, no, that's smart. I was just curious. I wasn't sure if you were going down maybe a PT path just as a backup plan or not.
Two words, no chance. No chance.
So I guess piggybacking off of that, you graduate from IU, you start with Huntsville in the Southern League, Double A. Tell me about the transition from college to minor league baseball, and what you learned there in year number one.
Sure. It was a non-linear progression. So yeah, I got to know you when I was in Huntsville, my second year there, and you were on, technically what, Gatlinburg or
Yep.
Knox or whatever it was, with the Tennessee Smokies. As you know, Huntsville then got sold and didn't come back for 2014. They let me know in February. So I kind of took a step back, not from like a professional standpoint, but like a step back, like, hey, what do I need to work on? What are my pros? What are my cons? What do I do well? What do I not do well? And I went out to Oakland, California, and I was a broadcast media relations assistant for the Oakland Athletics. And I just shut my mouth for a year and didn't call games and sat in the radio booth and listened to Ken Korak and Vince Cotroneo and saw what they did well and said, man, I want to do that, and saw what they did well that resonated with my broadcasts, or what they did that was the exact opposite of my broadcast. It's just like, oh, I want to eliminate that. So it was kind of shutting up and listening for a summer. And not everybody has that luxury, but I did. And I learned a lot, and I learned that I missed having a microphone in front of my face. So after that summer in Oakland, I went out to Australia for a winter here, summer out there. Call games in the Australian Baseball League, which was essentially studying abroad just with baseball, no classes. It was incredible. So being able to do that and learn baseball down to like the earliest roots. Like I remember the first game I had in Australia, and I called a 6-4-3 double play. And the listener's like, what's a 6-4-3 double play? And you're like, all right, like this is how I have to re-engage the fans. Like you have to dumb it down. You have to find the Venn diagram of the most diehard fan, the not diehard fan, what they like together. Like find that small space. Like what do they understand? What do they comprehend? What do they like? So I got to learn that in Australia, then came back to the United States and started from the ground up. I was with the Idaho Falls Chuckers, rookie league affiliate for the Kansas City Royals. 2015, 2016, and 17, I was with the Bowling Green Hot Rods, which are the single A affiliate for the Tampa Bay Rays. Then with the Iowa Cubs for 7 years, and now about to start my second year with the Chicago Cubs. So from Double A to not calling games to the ABL to rookie ball to Single A to Triple A to the big leagues. So a non-linear path.
I love that path, and I speak to a lot of young sportscasters that
Mhm.
are trying to get sheer volume, and I want to ask you this. Minor league
Sure.
baseball is great because you can do 140, 150 plus games sometimes based on playoffs. But just because you're doing a lot of games doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting better. Why were you able to improve year over year, particularly during that, I'll call it a gap year in Oakland where you weren't necessarily on the air?
I think early on it was just getting reps, getting my voice out there, trial and error. Doing things one day, doing things differently the next day, doing things differently the next day, doing things differently the next series, and taking 10% of each, like, oh, I did 10% good that series, like, let's take it into the next. And then just kind of like building a block of like what's good. But then being able to challenge that in my summer in Oakland and listen and say, oh my goodness, the things that I did in 2013 for that series, like Ken Korak and Vince Cotroneo, they're doing the opposite of that. And they're in the big leagues. And Ken's a Hall of Famer. Probably don't do that. So it's just, I think like the sheer volume is great to a certain point. Like you got to get your voice out there. You got to get your reps. You got to find your voice. You got to get critiques. You got to get yelled at. You got to go down to the locker room and have a director of player development chew you out for what you said about a player. Like that's how you're going to learn what to say and what not to say. So I think the minor leagues is great for that. I think it really shows you what the players go through in order to get to that point. Like there is I would say an aura or an energy of a guy who's drafted in the first round. Oh, he's going to make it to the big leagues. Well, that's not 100% how it's like. And also, like, that's not baseball. You have 26 other players ranging from, at that point, the first round to the 40th round, now the first round to the 30th round. And the story is the 29th rounder who's getting up to AAA as much as it is the bonus baby who's going to spend 10 years in the big leagues. So being able to tell those stories and learn those perspectives, I think if you want to get into baseball, it's measurable. You have to learn that not everybody gets paid $4 million as a signing bonus and is in the big leagues in 3 years. So I think that being in minor league baseball, you get that context to what baseball is really like. That those bus rides are not great. That the hotels in all of the minor leagues, some are good, some are mediocre, some are really bad. And there are some jobs that you have that it's not just broadcasting games for 3 hours. You're working in minor league baseball. I had to do sales. I had to do team travel. I was a mascot for birthday parties. Like it's not glamorous for the players. It's not glamorous for the employees, but it gives you so much more context to the game.
I want to hit on that, the quote unquote other duties as assigned. A lot of people think that, particularly in minor league baseball, broadcasting is 100% broadcasting and a little bit of some other things when it's called upon. But a lot of times it might be 25% broadcasting and 75% other things. How were you able to hone your skills and be a valuable asset to every franchise that you ended up at?
I think that listening and asking what those organizations need and those organizations answer the question. Like I think I'll take my job at Iowa, for instance. And when I interviewed for that job, I knew that there was a team travel component to it, and I knew that there was a sales component to it. And I knew that if I was getting interviewed, my tape already did enough of the talking. The other interviews should be about all the other duties that are in the job description other than play-by-play broadcaster. So I remember talking to Randy Wayhofer, and our first interview was an hour and a half, and nothing had to do with broadcasting. Because I knew that, okay, like my tape got me in here. It is my understanding of the organization's needs, my understanding of the job titles that will separate me. And it did. And during the season, it's just making sure that you allot your time appropriately, that you have sales duties, like take 2 hours out of the day to focus solely on sales duties. And you have team travel, you probably do that once or twice a week where you have to figure out team flights for the next series, hotel rooms, if you have to change a flight. So just figure out, put a time on a calendar that you're going to focus solely on travel, and put time on a calendar that you're going to focus solely on prepping, and put time on a calendar that you focus solely on critiquing, and put time on a calendar that you focus solely on networking. Just making sure that you check all of those boxes and devote not all the time to that, but enough time where you can feel comfortable about every step that you're taking in the process.
How has your prep evolved from the early minor league days to now being in Chicago?
I mean, I think calling a big league game is a little bit different just because in minor league baseball, you're a one-man band or a two-person band. Like sometimes you'll have a media relations person doing the game notes and feeding you some stories, but in the big leagues, the big league media relations crews. Then you have the Marquee Sports Network statistical crews. They put together their game notes. And you have MLB Network game notes. I mean, there's just so much more information at your disposal. I think in minor league baseball, when you're doing that volume of games, like my game one prep of 162 or 150 or whatever it was so much different than game 70 and 150. And it was so much different than game 150 and 150. Because game one, you're prepping for everything. You don't know these players. You want to get their height, weight, draft status, where they went to college, who they were teammates with, what they did last year, where they're out of the prospect rankings. Game 70, you're looking more at, oh, what did this guy do at the beginning of the season versus the middle of the season, how he's trending into summer and the All-Star break. And then you get into game 150 and you're talking about not only like what the team has done in the past, but it's more recall. Hey, this is what the guy did 10 days ago. Here's what he did 5 days ago. Here are how it factors into playoff implications or Arizona Fall League implications or the prospect implications or if he's going to be on the organization all-star team at the end of the year. So I think that it really depends on the time of year, how I prepare. And I think that I learned that just by going through it. And I think that my first year in Huntsville, I prepared a lot different in game 140 and 150 than I did in 2023 game 140 and 150. And that's just by learning and having the recall and seeing the guys that have come through the organizations and the games and just being able to date back to that.
Are you a digital? Do you have everything in, OneNote or Google Docs? Are you a hard copy or a little bit of both?
Oh, all of the above.
Yeah.
I've been saving a lot of my stuff to Google, like my Google Docs, Google Drive. But I like having a hard copy in front of me. So I like both. I'm an equal opportunist, Michael.
I love that. I think that, at least from my perspective, one of the challenges that you might run into now at the Major League Baseball level is trying to be fresh because if you're going to do Clayton Kershaw and say, oh, he's high school teammates with Matthew Stafford, like pretty much
Yeah.
everybody kind of knows that by now. Trying to dig in and get something a little bit deeper, how do you go about that?
Making yourself available. I think when I'm doing big league games, and granted, I was only doing, 30, 35 big league games, is making sure you go to media availability and making sure that you go to batting practice and making sure that you take advantage of every conversation you could possibly have. And it's not like you have to have a 30-minute conversation with Clayton Kershaw, but make sure that you're down there, you're listening, you are hearing the players talk about each other. You're going to availability of, you want to talk about Clayton Kershaw. You go to media availability of the Dodgers and you want to hear what the pitchers say about Clayton Kershaw. You want to hear about what the teammates say about Clayton Kershaw. You see Clayton Kershaw and, you know, Michael Grove talking. Go talk to Michael Grove and be like, hey, seems like you and Kershaw have a really good relationship. Yeah, I do. We just talked for 15 minutes. Oh, I saw that. Like, what's the best piece of information or advice he's given to you? Just like kind of seeing that on the fly. And the best way that you can do that is just being present. The best ability is availability. So being available to them, being there, being present, listening, that would be my best piece of advice.
Appreciate that. We're kind of in the, I guess, minor league baseball hiring process stages right now. You
Yeah.
went through a bunch of these. I know baseball winter meetings aren't necessarily the same as they used to be maybe 10, 15 years ago for potential job applicants, but what advice do you give those that are hunting for jobs at this point in the year?
Go to the winter meetings. Highly recommend. I would say if you're trying for a job in minor league baseball, try to figure out what teams are going down there, and the majority of them are, and email the teams that you are focusing in on. And don't be like, hey, give me a job, but just be like, hey, my name is so and so. I'm going down to Orlando this year. I know you're probably busy, but I'm trying to break into this industry, trying to learn a little bit. Do you have 10 or 15 minutes to chat over coffee? Can I meet you in the parking lot? Can I meet you at the bar and just pick your brain for a second? And you might send 10 emails. You might get five back. You might say two who say no, but three who say yes. So it's not just like, hey, let's go to the job fair. Maybe I could talk to you for 15 minutes. It's, hey, I know that you're going to be down there. There's no job fair. I'm trying to learn a little bit. Do you have 10 or 15 spare minutes over the next 3 days? That's how I would approach it. And as a baseball guy, winter meetings are incredible. it doesn't matter if you're going to a job, applying for a job, there for a job, like just being in the lobby and seeing like your favorite baseball players or your favorite baseball personalities just like having a drink, hanging out for like 3 days straight. Like they're one of you. Like it's a baseball picnic. That's how I would call it.
Yeah, I went to Nashville about 10 years ago. It's definitely worth
Yeah,
the
it's
time.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get the Grand Old Opry, and then you have blisters on your feet from how much you walk, and you're exhausted. And you get like 5 hours of sleep in 3 days. But all in all, like you'll remember, like I remember my first winter meetings in Indianapolis, and I was a college student at the time, and there was like a Starbucks right at the hotel, and I heard about this job fair. I was like looking at the jobs that are going to be posted there, and I heard like these old men just like talking about like some of the moves that were going to be made. And I turn around and it was Bobby Cox, Tony La Russa, and Manny Acta. Just like standing in line with me at Starbucks. I'm like, this is awesome. And if you truly love baseball, like you'll find some appreciation in that. It is like sitting at a bar and you have, Jim Leland on your left, you have Gary Sheffield on your right. Like it's just you love baseball, go there. I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's pretty good company you're keeping on these trips.
I mean,
Um,
they don't remember mine. I remember theirs, but
um, Bridging the gap from minor league baseball to major league baseball. Obviously, everybody wants to get to the show. And sometimes people think, oh, it's just going to be, I'll do my 5, 6 years and boom, I'm going to hop right into it. For you, it took some time. You had to build that relationship, foster that time with the Cubs, fill in a couple times over the last couple of years. How were
yeah.
you able to bridge that gap to now become, a part of Marquee Sports Network?
I mean, it took 13 years in the minors,
Hmm.
so a long time. But I think specifically with the Cubs, again, it's the best ability is availability. And by what I mean by that was, I think it really started when Marquee started broadcasting Iowa Cubs games on Marquee Sports Network. And they did like a select package, 13 to 15. It is being in close communication with them. Hey, what do you need? Hey, we want to provide these creative elements. Can we put those on Marquee? And then during the AAA season, like let's say there is a 12-game road trip. One game's in Indy, one game's in Columbus. During that off day, because it's 6-game series in AAA, I'd spend that off day in Chicago. I'd go there. I'd go to Marquee. I'd see if I could hop on any pre or post game shows. I'd go to media availability. I'd sit in the press box. I'd sit in the studio and watch the games with them, pick their brain a little bit. I did that for 4 years before they gave me a call. And we're talking about like middle of the season. We've lost, 8 out of 10 games, and we ended a game at 10:30. I get on a flight at 6:30. I land at Chicago at 9:30. I go to Marquee Sports Network. They have a 120 game. I hang out for the entire game. I get on a flight. I go to Indianapolis. I'm there that night for a 1 o'clock game the next day. So it sounds chaotic, but you have to take those chances and take those opportunities to network and make the most out of them. And they might not pay off right away. Again, mine didn't pay off for 4 years. But just showing that you're there, that you want to be part of it, whatever it is for them, whether that is, Iowa Cubs coverage on Marquee Sports Network or eventually being part of Chicago Cubs games. I think that they knew that ultimately you want to be a big league broadcaster because you're not going to be a minor league broadcaster if you don't want to be a big league broadcaster. But just making yourself known and available, where then in 2023 they called me for spring training games. Then in 2024 they called me for my big league debut, filling in for Boog right before the All-Star break. And then after those games that I filled in, they said, "Hey, we're more than likely going to call you if you're 4 minutes away than if you're 4 hours away." And you work 13 years to have that conversation. And for them to say that, it was a no-brainer. You moved to Chicago and the rest worked out itself. And a lot of it is taking chances and leaps of faith and stuff that not normal people would do. But I did it.
Yeah, yeah, you did it, and you made it to the big leagues, and kudos to you. Tell me about the major league debut. Walk me through that day and what you remember most.
So that day, it was 98 degrees at Busch Stadium with a heat index of 112. So my first thought was, man, I hope I don't sweat through this entire broadcast. um, Having like a towel close to me and as much water as I possibly could drink. And I remember something, I forget who said it to me. It's like, it's the same game. It's just It's a different auditorium. It's the same play. It's just a different place to watch it. And I remember sitting up there at Busch Stadium and thinking of like, that's a load of crap because it's different. The energy is different. The sight lines are different. The way that you use pauses in big league games is different because the crowd can tell so much of a story. Because 40,000 fans are a lot louder than four that are a lot louder than 400. So you have the crowd being able to paint a picture and tell a story at your disposal in the big leagues than you don't have in minor league baseball, or very rarely have in minor league baseball. So that got me kind of to shut up a little bit and not try to overtalk throughout the broadcast. And I still find myself in situations like that where I try to carry a broadcast. And you don't necessarily have to do that in Major League Baseball because the players down there do it, your color analyst does it, your sideline reporter does it, and the 40,000 fans do it. So in minor league baseball, you want to be like Steph Curry. You want to carry everything. But in the big leagues, my ultimate comp is I want to be Mike Conley Jr. I want to dish it out, man. I want to score my points. I want to get my 14, 10, and 5. But like the 10 assists, like I want to make sure Jim DeShays can get the points in that he wants to get in. I want to make sure that Taylor McGregor can do her hits and have the adequate amount of time to do that. I want to make sure if there's 42,000 fans at Wrigley Field that they speak the loudest. And that's not necessarily something that you can do at the minor league level. So that's the difference.
All the point guards, you go with Mike Conley Jr. That's your choice.
I mean, but like I'm not going to think of like an all-star point guard. Like I want a point guard that is well liked, that does a lot but not too much.
No, it's
Like
funny.
I don't know,
I was just joking. No, I
no,
was thinking like
but like,
Jason Kidd,
like
John
no,
Stockton.
but they're Hall of Famers, and they also scored a lot of points. And my role for this was like I don't need to score that many points. I want to get mine.
Yeah.
But also, like, my main point is to be a good teammate and to make sure that the other stars of the show have the opportunity to be stars of the show. And I think
No,
Mike Conley Jr., to bring it all back, did that better than anybody.
yeah, he's a great player. And piggybacking off of that, radio, TV, two totally different things. You kind of mentioned it
Yeah.
there. One kind of you're the one in control, you're the one scoring, the other, you're the one dishing it out, being the point guard. How have you tried to adapt and how have you been able to adapt between the two mediums?
Oh, man. Listening to a lot of radio and watching a lot of TV and noticing the subtle differences that I remember like my first couple like Marquee Sports Network game, Iowa Cubs games on TV. And I was calling it like a radio call. And then you get the reminder like they can see everything. Like you don't need to say the score every batter because there is a little logo, a little score bug at the bottom that tells you the score. You don't need to say it's like, oh, they're playing at double play depth because you can see that. So it becomes a lot more personal where you can tell stories, where you can get your color analysts involved. Where I consider radio, it's still such an art form. Winds blowing left to right, sun setting out of the east, infield's playing it at the corners, outfielders are shaded towards left center, or a shaded towards right because Chris Davis pulls the ball 87% of the time. It's more of like a continuous art form, and TV is more of like a continuous conversation.
You mentioned long time in the minors, you do make it to the big leagues, but was there ever a time where you questioned your career, where you thought maybe you might need to pivot at any point?
Ever a time, all the time, every year, where you see your friends in stable jobs, getting to hang out with their families, having stable relationships, getting married, having kids, 9 to 5, typical summers, stuff that you're missing out on. Um, yeah, a lot. Yeah, I remember 2016 was a particularly tough year for me because I lost three family members in a span of 6 months, and two of them were during baseball season, and not being able to take the time, adequate amount of time with my family and be able to grieve, and just jump back into baseball. I thought like, man, this isn't sustainable. Um, but then you just have to recognize like that is not the norm. That is the exception. You have to be able to, in order to succeed in this, like you need to have a very comfortable base, whether it's your family, whether it's your friends, whether it's your girlfriend or your wife. Like, you need a core that supports you. Like, you cannot do this yourself. I mean, I guess you can. I just don't see how viable it is. Um, but to answer your question, I guess that was more roundabout. Yeah, there's a lot of times where I thought that, man, maybe I should go into sales. I should go into teaching. I should go back to school. I should go into media relations. I should just try to be in a bigger city and get out of minor league baseball and freelance, which is now becoming more of a, an avenue where people would, if they want to stay in broadcasting, but they want to be in an area that is not an area where they don't know, that's in the middle of the country or somewhere they've never been before, like they try to go towards that avenue, which has its pros and has its cons. But yeah, I'm really glad that I stayed in it as long as I did. But there were multiple times during multiple seasons that I'm like, I don't know if this is the right thing for me.
What guidance would you give somebody dealing with something similar at this point in their career?
Breathe, take it day by day. Take every series. Like, there's going to be a series in minor league baseball where nothing goes right. Travel stinks. Communication's tough. Your mixer goes out. You sound like crap. The team's playing even worse. That you're just like, man, like, I don't know if I can do this. But my advice would be like, do you feel that way after the next series? And you're probably not going to, because the team will win a game and you'll have a walk off, or you'll have a good conversation with the coach, or you'll have that one inning that everything just clicks. I would say take it day by day and series by series, and not expect that you're going to have like, oh, this is the game that I made it. You just need an inning. You just need a half inning. Like, when it comes down to it, like, remember sending out demos, Michael? All you need is, over a course of a 150 game season, six great highlights, two good half innings, and one good pregame interview. That's it. And yeah, it's a little bit more nuanced than that. But when you think about it in a broader lens, over 150 games, do you think you can get two good half innings, six really good plays, and one good pregame interview? Odds are you can. It's achievable. So if you get that, no matter what else that you deal with over the course of the season, it's worth it.
It's a great point. That's a great point. Obviously, it worked out for you. You're in the show. But if you were starting your college career right now, if you were going in as a freshman today in 2025, what would you do to try to emulate the same path that you're on right now?
I think now there's so many more avenues to get involved. For instance, like, I went to Indiana University. Well, Big Ten Student U was only around my senior year. Now it would be around my freshman year. Get into that. Get into IUS TV. Get into IU Student Radio. Get into the athletic department. When I was interning my summers out of college, I was working in it with a newspaper and working in minor league baseball. It's just like a media relations intern. And that's great, but there's also like all these college wood bat leagues and all these prospect leagues that start after graduation or start after the school year ends. Get involved with those. Like, there are so many more avenues to get on air now during the summer as a college student than there was in 2011 when I graduated. So I would say get involved in school and get as much experience as you can during the summer. Like, if I would do it all over again during the summers, I'd go work in the Northwoods League. Northwoods League, Cape Cod League, and now all of these prospect leagues, Pioneer League, Can-Am leagues, Indie Ball, that starts after the school year ends. Like, I'm getting involved in that right away if I want to get into baseball.
Yeah, that's a great point. And there are so many opportunities now compared to when you and I were in school, just trying to do a couple
Yeah.
radio calls here and there.
Right.
Um, Looking at the future, you get, your 30, 40 games a year. How do you try to maximize the reps that you get on air, and what have you learned from Boog?
I've learned a lot from Boog. He has been one of the top three, if not the most influential person in my career. Because I remember listening to him, and he was like one of the first broadcasters that I listened to that I'm like, I want to sound like that. Because not only does he know the game, he sounds like he's having, one, so much fun, and two, doesn't give a crap about what other people talk about him. He is so comfortable in his own skin and so comfortable with talking baseball and making sure that others enjoy it. Like that is the benchmark. The advice that he gave me is always be willing to learn, always be willing to listen, breathe, and smile. Because if you're not having fun calling the game, they're probably not having fun listening to you or watch you. Like that is like cause and effect right there. Very rarely will I broadcast a game pissed off and the other person listen to the game be like, "Oh, that was great." Like it is very synced up. So just making sure that my energy can help match and dictate the watcher or the listener's energy. That's like the best piece of advice that I think I could give broadcasters. How to maximize every game. I mean, I think about this like in a couple different ways. Of course, you want to maximize every game, but even though like it's 1 of 40 to me, it's 1 of 162 to the listener or the watcher. So I don't want to go into, game two of a 3 game series against the Pirates and treat it like it's game seven of the World Series just because it's my last game. So matching like my intensity to it, but also to like how it means to the Cubs, what it means to the players, what it means to the fans. Again, it's making an outline of that and making sure that my energy and my call checks all of those little boxes, not just my own.
I'll leave you with this. I don't think that there's maybe a scientific answer to this, but how did you find your voice over the minor league years to get to this point?
I'll give you math. It took me 1,000 games.
Hmm.
It took me 1,000 games to be comfortable with how I sounded, be comfortable with myself. And the only way that you can do that is growing as a broadcaster. It's being very critical of yourself. It's being able to send your tape out to people, have them rip you apart, and you not take it personally. It's you relishing your successes. When you call a good inning and you feel it, own it. If you have a really bad game, own it. Like it's not all bad, it's not all good, but own the good and own the bad. Like that would be the best way to do it. And in the games that you call good, go back to it's like, what did I do good? How can I do more of that? And if you're able to do that, and if you're able to talk to people and get critiques and take 10% of what Joe Davis says, and 10% of what Wayne Randazzo says, and 10% of what Boog Sciambi says, and put that into your broadcast, you will more than likely be a 30% better broadcaster than you were the previous year or the previous week or the previous game. Don't take everything of what they say, but if you take 10% of what all the really good guys say and implement that into your broadcast, I guarantee you won't be worse.
It's great advice, and this was a great conversation. Alex, thanks so much for the time. Enjoy a little bit here of the winter and enjoy spring training coming up here in a couple months.
I appreciate you, Michael. Proud of you, what you've been able to do. We've known each other now for over a decade. I had a full head of hair when we first met, so that was a long time ago. But proud of you, what you've been able to do. And it's been fun watching you and your career as well.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Hopefully, we can connect
Thanks,
again
man.
soon. Our guest in
Sure.
episode 9 of STAA's Next Level Sportscasting was Chicago Cubs TV play-by-play announcer Alex Cohen. I'm Michael Watrank. Thanks so much for watching.